no address, no jurisdiction. As I've been telling you guys before, do not render any information. Never give them information.
Found not guilty. Y'all know how many times I've been arrested. This was in 324 this year. Found not guilty. Bond $1,000, which was $100. And this, I got arrested for this in November. I got arrested twice. I'm gonna show you. Twice in the same month. One, I got found guilty. Same thing. And one, I didn't get found. I got found not guilty. Now, I'm gonna explain to you why and how they did this. Now, look what they did. They only gave me fines on this one, and this one is not guilty. All right, so let's start from the top real quick. Number one, you need an affidavit with you all the time to rebut any assumption that you're a resident or you're a U.S. citizen. The U.S. citizenship really don't matter unless you like dealing with like a business, like you want to create EIN numbers, you know. They don't ask you are you a U.S. citizen, but they know that you most likely are if you use a residence in the U.S. But anyway. I got this paper. I returned this ID in 2021. So I was arrested in November. I returned this 7, so what's that, July, somewhere around there? Yeah. Okay. It's the little trust I made. You can create an EIN number for that too. All right, now let's get to the meat and the potatoes of this. Like, what is this really about? Why did I get found not guilty? And also, why did I get found guilty on one? I'm gonna just be flat out truthful with you, because if I like go into deep detail, it's gonna confuse you, bro. You cannot use the address. On this case, they pinned this address on me. I didn't give them a name, nothing. They pulled me over, I gave them nothing. They just arrested me, I went in there, they put me in a naked suit for like, only for like a couple hours. All of the guards knew me, so they let me out soon. But, you feel me? Nothing. So he pinned my old address on me, which I saw in the, you know, when they send you papers and all that. So I was trying to tell him like, I don't got no address, but he still pinned that address on me. But now I got this certified, sealed, so when I go to court again, I don't live at that address. That's not my residence. I don't receive mail there. I don't do nothing with that address. That's the last address I had an ID, any type of, that's my last known address. And it's invalid. Now, why am I on the address phase like that? Why am I saying, you know, why am I so big on this? Because, bro, go watch Taekwon X video. Lately, it been hitting me like the last 4 months. It's like, bro, it's all in the address. Just look at cops. Look at all these police shows. Also, look at Florida. They got a bond show, a bond jail show, whatever. Look at how they treat the people without an address who not residents, and look at how they treat the residents. You do not want to be labeled as a resident, bro. It's not good. Number 2, I could tell y'all some meat and potatoes, but if y'all gotta just get in, I just showed y'all the EIN, you know, bro, showing y'all the EIN, like, get with it, man. It's easy, it's simple. Number 2, man, look, you no matter what, if you got an address, you're gonna get found guilty. I really ain't even had no defense, because it's like and another thing, if you got an address, man, the statutes apply. That's it. Like, don't. I'm trying to take it to the appeals. I mean, the Supreme Court on two cases. One of them, the Supreme Court said they don't even want to further review. That's just one. Then I got another one. I'm writing up a whole another brief differently. So, bro, that address, they already got jurisdiction. I'm trying to challenge the constitutionality, you know, but it's all about the address. Where's your resident at? They need the address to bond the case over. In this case, found not guilty, I had no defense, bro. They gonna find you guilty no matter what. You feel me? But it's all about the address. They knew they couldn't bond the case over because when I went to jail, the officer asked me, "Where do you live? Where do you live?" I'm steady telling him, like, bro, I don't live at that address. And let me tell y'all how it happened, cause like this one, I was gonna record this interaction, but I had just got an iPhone 13, and I'm trying to go to Walmart to get a case. I ain't even bring the phone out with me. I promise I just got it. If I'm lying, I'm dying. And I already dropped it on the side, and it had this soft aluminum, so it had like a dent. So I'm going to Walmart to get it. I got locked up with no phone, no nothing that day on the first one. That was like November 1st, 2021. And then on the second one, I recorded Toby. Man, y'all don't know him, but I know. I recorded him. I'm like, I'm coming down the street. I'm looking for somebody. I pull over in the parking lot. I see the police just ride past. I'm like, cool. Then they hit a U, start watching me. I'm like, oh, I know they on something today. You feel me? I just ain't. I felt it. So I'm like, all right, I don't know what it is. I'm on the phone. We'll chop it up, chop it up. Then I see the police go like to the parking lot next on the side of me. So I go over there too. Like, what? If they want me, I ain't gonna, you feel me, run. Like, I ain't got nothing to run from. So I go over there too. I'm like, I hop out with my phone. I'm like, what's up? Like, you feel me? He's like, Mr. King, you got a warrant. Woo. I'm like, all right. Well, if I got a warrant, then I know I'm going to jail. There ain't even really nothing, you feel me, fight for it if I got a warrant. And I knew it was for like a bond violation, like something stupid, like it wasn't nothing major. But so he arrested me for that, and then he charged me with this. And then he kept asking me, where do you live? Where do you live? You know? Well, he was like, well, I'm gonna put you in as homeless. Cause I'm like, dude, I don't live there no more. You know I don't live there no more. Like, I don't know who live there. Like, it was a city house. Like, I was renting from the city, so, you know, so. But the 2 weeks later, I see the same officer again. Matter of fact, I don't know. I ain't gonna say, exaggerate. I want to say at least 2 times. I see this officer 2 weeks later. One time he sit and watch me for 30 minutes. I guess he was trying to see if I live at this other address. I don't know what he was trying to do, but he just watched me for 30 minutes. Then he'll leave. Then another time, you know, I saw him again too. But the point is, as long as I don't got an address, bro, they not doing nothing. You can't have an address. My address for my work is in another country. Like, if I'm lying, now, you know, I don't want to tell y'all too much, but my address is in another country. Y'all can do it too. Y'all gotta go here. Y'all can look up one of these addresses out of Canada. And y'all can go to any one of these countries. Get y'all an address. You're not a resident of the United States. As long as you're here, you listen. Roger Sal's. That's all you need to know about, like, the right to travel. You wanna win the right to travel. You wanna win DHS cases, whatever. Like, whatever statute, agency trying to deal with you, ATF, all of them, especially the ATF, man, listen, all these, they only make laws, or it's not laws, statutes and regulations for residents and U.S. citizens. Okay, go return your ID. You really want to travel? You really want your right to travel? You got to return that shit. You got to get a passport. Yeah, it's gonna be $100. You want to buy beer? You want to buy cigarettes? You want to go out, do whatever you want to do? You need a passport. So you got to rebut everything. You're not a. You can't be a non-citizen national. That's not. That's only for Samoan Americans or whatever the fuck it is. So you're a national and you want to rebut. You are not a resident. As long as you are not a resident, you shouldn't go to jail. Well, I still went to jail because I had a warrant, but you are not a resident now. I'm showing y'all the proof. I ain't getting too crazy with it because I know what I'm doing, man. I know, you know what I'm saying? All right, so in every statute that they make, you can tell who it applies to because they always put it in there, either a U.S. citizen or a resident. So if you rebut that, you out of their jurisdiction. That's keeping you out of their jails. They gotta take off the mask and say something else. All government is by consent. They cannot govern you without your consent. That's why where you live at, where you live at. You need to know, come on, tell us. Just give us an address, you know? Resident, then they got you. You going to jail. Always answer the question no to are you a U.S. citizen or are you a...
Trying to argue that governmental action is not forceful, Senator Harry Reid claimed that income taxes are voluntary.
Sorry about that. So that was I'm not sure who that young man was from Life and Liberty, but as you see, again, there's another young man who exercised his rights. Now, he did it in a little bit of a different way than what, is normally expressed, but all the same, the end result was the same, one and the same. So, the bottom line is as you remember and reflect back to other videos that I've dealt with, I've always told you jurisdiction. One country, two jurisdictions. Okay? You have the fictitious United States of America corporate, and then you have the United States of America Republic, which is the free man. Your United States, your fictitious United States of America corporate is the straw man. Okay? So the fictitious state can only deal with a fictitious man. Okay, they cannot deal with a real man. So the bottom line is sever all contracts, driver's license, any type of ID cards, things of that magnitude that would establish residency, that would establish you being part of the United States corporate. Because here's the thing, as long as you are part of the United States corporate, they will always have jurisdiction. You've consented to their jurisdiction, regardless. If you sign a traffic ticket, you've consented to their jurisdiction. You refuse that traffic ticket, they have no signature, then there's no jurisdiction. You give them no address, there's no jurisdiction. You don't give them your name. Don't give them any information. Period. We've been doing this for so long, and anyway, I caught that, so I just wanted to get a little recording of it to get it on there to show you. Here's another video that I'm posting with another gentleman who has his court documents, and he's showing you the filed, stamped, sealed, and the response from the courts, and he's also showing you how he was found guilty on one case based on the fact that he still had an address that he was registered to in the system. So basically, how you get that address out is you go to the post office to where that address was regioned at, and you fill out a change of address card. This way it goes into the database. See, and this way when the police station runs that address and it comes back invalid, then they can't label it as last known address. You got to keep in mind that the police departments, they operate on a few different systems. Whereas they go through the DMV, they can't accomplish what they're looking for. They go to the post office. So you have to always keep in mind the post office is actually where you give your change of address, as like the DMV. However, again, I just want you guys to keep in mind, I mean, this gentleman here, excellent job. He did perfect in his execution of how he's going about it. And I would just say that, in my opinion, it is to alleviate all those issues. You just sever all contracts. Make sure you take one at a time and eliminate everything one at a time. It's a system. Systematically eliminate your identity. You see, once you eliminate your identity, you erase your residency. So, and like I said, he did a good job. I'm not sure who he is, but apparently he's been watching Taquan, which is another young man who's out there exercising his right to travel. Right to travel, if you go, pretty much, I mean, the law says basically that the state has a right to regulate the highways, okay? But what everybody fails to understand is no, they don't have the right to regulate the highways for that of public safety. Supreme Court case law has been well established, that the state does have the right to regulate its commerce, and it has a right to regulate its commercial activity, its business. The United States is a business, everybody. In case you don't remember and you don't know, it is a business. The DMV is commercial. Any license that is coming out of the DMV is a commercial license. Supreme Court Justice Warren Rehnquist in 2000, in a case called Reno versus Condon, specifically stated in his opinion that all information given to the DMV and released from the DMV is commercially related. Bottom line, it's a 2000 case. So there you have it. If you're not operating in that of a commercial capacity and you're not using the highways for gain or private gain, okay, he also rendered in his opinion that the state does not have the right to regulate a private individuals. Go read that case. Reno versus Condon. I do believe it's 528 U.S. 2000. Okay, check that case out. I mean, it's not really even a long case, honestly. And I was actually surprised that Supreme Court Justice Rehnquist made a ruling on that case the way that he did. But there's also supporting factors to the matter. Some 90s cases. I actually have an attorney general's case where he's telling you that the state has a right to regulate its business but not the rights of the private individual. I do have a judge from the 60s who says the same thing. So this is judges, attorney generals, and Supreme Court judges. Well, it's Supreme Court judges, attorney generals, all putting the same opinion to the issue. So to make it very clear and established very well, the bottom line is the right to travel is a fact, you know. But as I keep telling you guys, the United States, the fictitious United States of America, is a business. And they're in business for a profit. Okay? So naturally, they're going to do everything in their power through law enforcement, through enforcing unconstitutional statutes, false arrests, false imprisonment, to force upon you contracts. If you're not bonded with the state, you're not a resident, you don't claim jurisdiction, the state has no jurisdiction. But as I've also told you before, where no policy or statute exists, no law can be enforced, no jurisdiction exists either. So keep that in mind, because the only laws that do exist now for private individuals is they cannot be regulated. And I have not seen one case law ever established by the Supreme Court or set down by the Supreme Court that allows for the state to take a right and turn it into a privilege. Whereas if you look at some of the older case law, a lot of people have been programmed to believe driving is a privilege. No, it's not. It's a right, actually. And if you watch my part 1 video that I just did earlier today, I actually mentioned that case law in that video, where the Supreme Court listed several cases establishing driving is a right, not a privilege. That hurts a lot of the police's feelings when you tell them that, because they're so programmed into believing that driving is a privilege. No, the commercial capacity is the privilege. That's where the privilege is. That's the distinction between the privilege and the right. The privilege comes from the commercial capacity. The right to travel is the private citizen, private individual. That's the right. See? And nowhere in law has it ever been established that a private citizen's rights can be regulated. So therefore, all the law that has been established in the past up until the present is all in relation to commercial activity, commerce. And that's automobiles included that travel or drive in commerce. So if you're operating an automobile, say like for a taxi cab, a Uber, Lyft, any kind of occupation like that that only utilizes an automobile, it is now considered a motor vehicle. And we all know that the Supreme Court has already defined a motor vehicle as a vehicle or contrivance that is used in that of the commercial capacity, something along those lines. So therefore you now know that tow trucks, cabs, Lyft, Uber, etc., those are all commercial capacities. They're all in commerce because, one, the state has never given anybody the right to utilize the highways to make money, okay, of their own free will. No, that's never been established. What has been established is the state has been given the authority to regulate anybody's want to go and use the highways as a place of business. So their personal gain, their private gain, not personal gain, but their private gain and private business, that's where the tax comes in. That's where all this starts to play out. But the case laws have been well established over the years that the only thing the state has the right to regulate is business, because it's a corporation, it's a fictitious business. The United States government is fake, if you want to put it in layman's terms. It's fake because of the fact of the matter, it was created. A natural man was born. See, there's a big difference. Man created the government, so that makes it fictitious. So they can put any kind of twist and story to it that they want. They can regulate it, they can stipulate it, they can privilege it, do whatever. But a natural born man, you cannot do that. Inherent rights, okay, cannot be encroached upon. Inherent rights you can't be deprived of. They cannot be regulated. They cannot be stipulated. They cannot be privileged. You just can't take a right and turn it into a privilege. It's just not. The Constitution says it. Now, you also got to keep in mind too, the Constitution does not give you rights. What the Constitution does is protect the inherent rights that you occurred from birth. Okay, a lot of people sit there and they actually believe that the Constitution affords them rights. No, it does not. It protects the rights that you inherited. Remember that. So anyway, I wanted to show that video. I want to give credit to that young man. I wanted to get that on because of the fact of the matter was he's another gentleman that is on here that has documents showing that he's traveling with no license, no plates, no registration, etc., etc., and he has the documents to prove that he was found not guilty, and that was in 2021. So again, very recent. So there you have it. With that being said, this is Dark Angel. I'm out of here. Deuces.